Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Hi, everybody. Well, you see, I got my thumbnail. Only one. And who am I talking about? There's only one. Meatball with no sauce. Durham test or message or both. Or his testimony. Is it going to be testimony or message? Or both. So anyway, I've got past my 30 seconds, but I wanted to get a little earlier, but I tell you, there's always some news coming out, and you never know. You'll get halfway into the live stream and something big will come out. But tomorrow's a big day for Mr. Durham. I hope everybody's ready for that. Take notes. That's what I say. Take notes. Hi, Nikki. Tennessee, how you doing? Wanda, Karen, Mary. All right, Damon, Georgia. Hi, Ingrid. And everybody's rolling in. Jamie's in. That's good. I tell you, we had a good group on Bumble last night. I'll be doing another one of those. I don't know what I'll call it. A jump over video. I'll come on here, do about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe a half hour, and then do a jump over, ditch it, and start a new one up on Bumble. So that's probably going to be in the cards till I can get a third streaming service that would allow me to see the chats. I don't like that I can't see the chats. So even though sometimes I'm talking and I can't really focus on it because I get on a rant. Hi, Chris. Hi, Barb. Welcome aboard, Barb. And anybody new from Bumble? Hi, Debbie. We got two Debbies. Can't have too many Debbies. Henri, how are you? Wow, my chats are jumping around. I hope this is coming in clear. Mary said Newsmax started today with Durham put off till June. Well, that's a message now, isn't it? Hi, Georgia. Got two Georgias. Hi, Lori. Well, and that may be true. That may have been put off. But boy, that was a weak attempt at distracting with that van. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. That'll draw more people to the broadcast. So I don't know, is that confirmed? Because it was going to be starting at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Jamie's, I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I guess, Newsmax is pretty good, right? Their ratings were higher than CNN. So, boy, didn't we have an interesting live stream last night. Went over some blasts from the past. Talked a little bit about phone technology. Dianne Feinstein. Hillary, Dillery, going to New Zealand. A lot of stuff we got to keep in mind, keep in focus. And then you start putting those twos and twos together and you start recognizing, oh, that's a 4 over there. That was a 4 too. So anyway, I'm glad we did that live stream. And I forgot to give you all posts to look at that we could discuss in a future live stream. I'll do that tonight. I won't forget because it'll be interesting to just to exercise the brain a little bit, not to get people, really going off on something difficult, but just something to consider. Where I kept my brain clear, and I remembered something about phones. With the satellite phones, I said, man, did we already do a phone deal? And I looked it up. Oh, gee whiz. That was a big pallet with a lot of phones. if you remember, if you didn't say live stream, you'll see it. A surreptitious picture taken of the delivery of these phones. I don't know how many would be in that pallet, but I'm willing to guess it's hundreds and hundreds of phones that they were told were secure, okay, by the spy agencies in New Zealand who were working with Trump, and they didn't know it. Ha ha ha. So all their staff members, all their cronies, everybody tangled up in this business of what they were doing to Mr. T. They're handing it out to him and saying, "Hey, this is a secret phone. It's really good. Nobody knows. Nobody can get into it." Oh, good. So, gosh knows, I'm suspecting that's how they got all those text messages from Peter Strzok. And what does Mr. T call them? The beautiful lovers, the two beautiful lovers. They turned their phones. If you remember, the story was in the news that the phones were wiped and that you had to try to log in something like 60 times and get it wrong 60 times in a row, and the phone would automatically wipe itself. And that somehow all these FIBI, FB, and the last letter is I, phones, dozens and dozens and dozens of them, it's like, oh, I accidentally wiped it. And they thought they were safe. But you know what? They weren't. And all those text messages were captured. All those text messages are on the record. We will stop him. Yeah, that's what they said. And that's what they meant. Just like Mr. T said. So anyway, that was a worthwhile exercise. And we'll do some more. And let me see if anybody heard anything solid on Durham. I thought that was kind of quick. Hi, happy days. Awaken Trillium, how are you? If I missed somebody, I'm sorry. Hi, Wanda. Adam. Sassy Cat. I got one of those running around here. I think she's got a boyfriend. I don't know. Hi, Melinda. Yeah, it's hard to keep track of everybody's different names, Melinda. It's hard to keep track of regular names. Like my dad used to say he said, when you get my age, I don't care what it looks like as long as it works. It's the same with my brain, my head. Hi, Joy. Whoa, gee, my chats are jumping about. But anyway, I'm just seeing if anybody got any solid news on the Durham testimony. So he'll either do it or he won't tomorrow. Oh, the Russian Ministry of Defense building. Well, they tried an offensive. I've got a little report on that turned out to be a big disaster. We can talk about that too. This is kind of an open night. Hi, Stacy. Christine, how are you? Kim. Pappy Two Bears, how you doing? So, yeah, that might be true. They hit the Kremlin with a drone. And, they really are. The Ukrainians, they really are losing back, but they're really opened up to they're pretty much defenseless, and they would do something like that with the help from the West. So, gee whiz, I closed my articles out. Let me open them back up again. If I drop off, I shall return. This live streaming service, I can dip out and return. Ha ha ha. So let's see. Anyway, they tried an offensive pretty much for a photo op. They're trying to pull other nations into the conflict. And let's see. I might as well talk a little bit about Ukrainians. Let's see. They tried going into Belgrade. They had turned out about 70 troops and about 4 APCs, armored personnel carriers, and some trucks, and they were going to do an incursion in there, and it pretty much got stomped out really quick. They compared it to they called it the C.I.A.'s Bay of Pigs. Pretty much a failed expedition, and they have a photograph and video of some American equipment. A video shows the destroyed American Hummer armored vehicles, other armored vehicles, and pickup trucks. And they also show people who did not survive. So, yeah, even if I was doing a picture show, I don't show that kind of stuff. I will do a live stream where I show combat footage in the future over on Bumble. And we can talk about the conflict over there while I play some of this footage I've had for a while, but didn't feel comfortable showing Utizzle. So at the moment, this report says during the raid, the enemy lost 2 American armored vehicles, M1224 Max Pros, both captured. And those are huge vehicles. And I have no idea what they cost, Max Pros. But they captured 2 of them intact out of this deal. They probably just got them last week. And then 2 armored vehicles, American WV M115A1, 1A1, both damaged and abandoned. 1 American cargo armored car, M1152A1, destroyed. And then they had a Ukrainian piece that was destroyed. Also a Polish armored car, AMZ, Dizik 2, destroyed. Ukrainian armored car was a Kraz Cobra, and a lot of light vehicles. And I think it was maybe 10 or 11 of them survived. The rest of them all didn't survive. So they made a desperate attempt to grab some headlines and possibly a little bit of territory. I don't know what their goal was, but it got absolutely nowhere. Hi, Lone Wolf. Hi, B-Dog. Thank you, Lone Wolf, for helping out last night with a cup of coffee. And when Camperman comes in, he helped out too. So, my chat's froze up. Gee whiz. Here we go. There we go back. Hi, Roy. How you doing? Fuzzy Picks at the State Department. Well, what was that for? About Fuzzy Picks. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? I'm kind of hard to keep, read all the chats to see if there was. Hi, Jersey Joe. Any confirmation about Durham? Yeah, DeSantis. That's why I put in my. EM said, did he make his big announcement? Yeah. And I tell you, Trump had some fun with that before. I was getting into. I was going to get into that before I got into the Ukrainian situation. I got another story on that. That's a pretty big story. Well, actually, there's a couple. Poland is making noise like they're going to invade Belarus or assist in an invasion in Belarus. All this stuff might not seem like much, but you see with this raid that failed, and now Poland talking about going into Belarus, and Biden talking about F-16s. They want to make this a wider conflict. Okay. But Ron DeSantis, Trump put up a video of a SpaceX rocket that started to take off and fell over, and they said that was Ron DeSantis's big announcement. And while they're showing that, they showed Trump with the music playing, proud to be an American, and all the people clapping and yay, welcome Donald Trump. And then they showed Ron DeSantis rocket keeling over, boom, blowing up. So yeah, it didn't go very well. And a lot of other people call Ron DeSantis a meatball, but a reason I put meatball in there is because Trump referred to him as meatball. I am not against DeSantis. I think he's a smart person. I think I've already said what him and Trump, the dance they're doing. I already talked about that in the past. But anyway, it was funny how Trump put one truth out, said his collar's too big. So he apparently wore a collar that was loose on his neck. I guess it might have been his dress shirt with a tie. I don't know. But he didn't want to look like a stuffed meatball. I think that's why. But the no sauce part is they were asking him softball questions. I read one commentator saying that they were all DeSantis supporters, and they asked him questions like, what are you going to do about immigration? And Ron DeSantis says, I'm against illegal immigration. Just like, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Softball questions, but what do you expect? This is, I will say for sure, a show. Tim Scott, coming in. Trump was very gracious. He put another truth out tonight, saying it was a class act when he made his announcement. Ron DeSantis was not a class act. So it's going to be something that's going to grab people's attention, people that don't pay attention to politics and have the memories of the 2016 debates. I mean, they were a show. I mean, that drew so many Americans into politics that probably never watched a presidential debate. Probably doubled the views for debates. Just the 2016 exercise. And then you have the town hall, which was 5 times the viewers that CNN normally gets. 5 times. And now you have Trump. He's throwing these darts. He's throwing a stink bomb over here. He's throwing a confetti bomb over there. He's pointing. He's laughing. He's, people love a show. And the Republican Party, as I said last night, is showing its wares. When Tim Scott goes to a debate or goes on the news, there are going to be a lot of people in minority status and who are Democrats that never paid attention to what a Republican said. They're going to tune in and they're going to listen. And you look at what do the demon rats have? What do they have? Joe Biden, he's not going to be able to perform at debates, but that's not even an issue because they've already said they're not even going to hold primaries. The Democratic Party is not going to sponsor primaries. So where's the excitement on their side? Well, how are they going to draw interest to their party, their positions, their candidates? How are they going to show their wares? They have none. Who? Kamala? Mike Shell, whatever. There's nothing out there. AOC, figuring out garbage disposals. I mean, there's nothing there. Bernie Sanders, he's finished. He's already let himself be steamrolled twice. And there's just no point in him running. You got Bobby Kennedy, and they are purposefully muzzling him because he's calling out so much about the stuff in your arm. He's calling out stuff about what happened to his father. He's calling out what they did to our president, his uncle, in front of the world. Of course, they're not going to let Bobby Kennedy anywhere near a microphone with a national audience. They downgraded the attack for the U-Haul, of course. Will they give him reckless driving? Said the brakes went bad or something? Yeah, there were two trucks got destroyed. And two of them the commander was posing in front of one, and they were driving one down the street. I mean, those are big trucks, and two of them were destroyed, but two of them were, I won't say showroom, but a lot of money gone. A lot of money gone. Hi, Maggie Lass. How are you? Gloria Freeman. How you doing? Who else did I miss? Let's see. Oh, I got a message. Wait a minute. Oh, Wicked Trillium kicked in on the coffee. Wait, I don't have a special effects. Boom, pow, bang. I didn't get to do those last night. Ha ha. So I got Wicked Trillium. Thank you very much. Outlandish Patriot says, I hope everyone had a blessed day. You also, Outlandish Patriot. Your hubby's update. They put him in dialysis. They're going to do, oh my goodness, tracheotomy. His heart is doing well, though. Yes, we will continue to pray. It's never too late. Never give up. As a friend of mine said, he went to a nursing home and he made it out, and he went another 10 years later, but he said, hope springs eternal. I'll never forget that. Never forget that. Yes, that's right, Ian. There may be a place for Tim Scott. Hey, it's helping him to plant his flag. And you look at how many Republicans have never really gotten, you never equate black candidates with the Republican Party, even though you had Alan Keyes, okay? I mean, that was back in the 90s. And you had, oh gosh, the Godfather Pizza. He passed away from colon cancer, and they blamed it on you know what, but he didn't. That wasn't why he passed away. And then you have the brain surgeon. I mean, I haven't talked about them in a while, so they're not on the tip of my tongue. But Camperman, how you doing? But we've always had a diverse party, but as I said, the media's the biggest power they have is a power to ignore. So let's see. Something's going to break soon. Where did that chat go? It's jumping up and down on me. Okay. Jamie said we'll have a new election within 120 days. How? I don't know. That's right. Well, 120 days. Yes, God will make a way. And just remember, you never will know when God wants to pluck a rose. Just keep an eye on the situation. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on the caregivers. Finding Dory, how are you? Let's see. And I tell you what, there are so many nice nurses and doctors. When my parents were uh, going through things, it's such a shame that the profession has gotten smeared, especially with some of the reports I'm going to read about this trending for operating on young people, if you know what I mean. I got to get myself back in utizzle talking mode. So anyway, I tell you, Trump put out a very interesting truth. And let me make sure I get it right here. He said, I've got so many different things in here, but he said something about Kim Jong-un, is it? That he would soon be friends with him. And you take that comment into context, which I didn't get to talk about last night, where he put up World War III and he said this conflict has to stop immediately or now. Do you all remember that? If you put that in the context of what he said, that he could stop it in 24 hours, but only if he was president. Now, I'm not trying to build up false hopes. I'm not trying to say there's some kind of thing, we'd be all excited about. He may be just rattling the cage of the opposition, but he did say, the only way I could do it is if I'm president, okay, with the aura of the office or something to that effect, with the gravitas of the office, he could end it in 24 hours. And yesterday he had put out, or the night before, he put out a tweet that the conflict has to end immediately in Ukraine. So how can it end immediately, if the only way he can end it is if he's president? So, he put out a tweet, a truth, and I've got so many of them in here. He put out a truth about Kim Jong-un. I'll find it. I don't want to get kicked out of my live stream, so I'll go through some of my reports. Yes, please hit the thumbs up, folks. I appreciate it. Helps the video to get around. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up. We'll wait for you. Come back in. But I saw Red State News put out an article. IRS Chief says, I didn't retaliate against Hunter Biden probe whistleblowers. It was the Department of Justice. So that is a pretty big statement, because everybody was jumping up and down on the IRS getting rid of the Biden investigative team. And the IRS chief said, don't look at me, DOJ. So that's the first I heard that little story, but it is something else that we're going to be getting more information, and probably going to draw the attention of Jim Jordan. And I found it interesting that Jordan said, we can't arrest them. We can't take them. How did he put it? He was talking about how limited Congress was. But I think he's just acting like he's got a weak hand, because, they can arrest people, just like they did Steve Bannon, okay? Just like they did Trump's attorney, okay? Took his phone. They can do a lot. They're probably going to do everything that Adam Schiff did. Like they could be bugging Congress people's phones right now. Adam Schiff did it to Devin Nunes, and reporters, nobody said nothing. So I don't know. Appear weak when you're strong, right? Oh, did you hear that this non-binary ex-Biden official, Sam Brinton, They called him Baldy Locks, the luggage thief. Now, I don't know if the story's going to change or not, but they say that he is going to a male prison, men's jail, to be held in a men's jail in Maryland while waiting to be sent to Washington, D.C. over suitcase theft charges. So I wonder who we used to joke about Maryland. Maryland, it's like a whole nother country. And I talked about the satellite states around the Magic Kingdom, which is D.C. You got Maryland on one side and Virginia on the other. And they're trying to turn both states into bedroom communities to service the bureaucratic structure that's soon to be torn down in the Magic Kingdom. But Maryland is, I'll get into some of their kooky laws I was alluding to in past live streams, how they're going to try to emulate that in other states. But anyway, who had their lights cut on in Maryland to make this guy go into a men's prison? That surprised me when I saw he was going to be in a men's prison. Didn't surprise me, but when I saw that was Maryland making him go into men's prison, I was like, holy cow, Maryland's kind of like a mini California, as radical and liberal as they are. So somebody's put a bug in somebody's ear. That's right. Wanda, Speaker of the House they can also do contempt of Congress for not showing up for subpoenas, just like they did Steve Bannon. Speaker of the House can have him arrested for cause, and cause would be not showing up for subpoena. They just can't order arrest. They have to have any situation has to have cause. And did you hear that? I showed last night that machete wielding New York City professor had that machete right up to that New York Post reporters right up against their neck. Well, they're fired. That's another bit of good news. When I come across that article, I'll talk about that was 24 hours. 24 hours, that person was gone. Hunter College. Rodriguez, there it is. Rodriguez has been relieved of her duties at Hunter College effective immediately and will not be returning to teach at the school. Okay? None of this losing vacation days or getting suspended with pay. You know, that usual crapola. That's reserved for FBI agents, losing vacation days for going after the president. But I think what they're digging up, it's going to be a little bit more than losing vacation days, folks. Who's going to men's prison? Explore America says, Baldy Locks, the luggage thief. Baldy Locks. And then we had this report. Who's this? A post-millennial put it out. New York Governor Kathy Hochul signed the Less is More bill into law in 2021, making it easier for parolees to stay out of prison. Less time in jail is more somehow. So this is brought up because the article says that a child unaliver and exploiter, physical exploitation, forcible, out of prison in New York is charged with S3 actual assault of an elderly woman. And that person was out roaming the streets because of Kathy Hochul. So, that stuff's got to be getting around. Put out to the general public. And that is one thing about Trump being a showman. about making wisecracks, making things entertaining. He also gets more people involved that couldn't care less normally. But once he's got their ear, he throws in the danger that they're in. So, okay, hey, hi, we're having a good time. Oh, what's Trump saying this time? And then, boom, he says World War III. Boom, what that Virginia governor said he did when he laid a baby on a table, okay, and discussed with the mother, what do you want to do? And I might as well bring that up. What was his name? Ralph Northam? Well, we make the baby comfortable, and then me and the mother have a discussion. Well, now everybody's talking about women like the one that is accusing Trump or suing Trump for what happened in New York 25 years ago, or however long ago it was. I hope that the young lady or ladies that were emotionally manipulated when they were young and they lost the most precious thing you could have as a child because of a character like that former governor of Virginia, that they can come back after him. If this old bat can do what she's doing to the 45th president of the United States because she claims something she doesn't even remember when it happened. Imagine a 16-year-old, 17, 18-year-old having somebody like that governor saying, "Now you really don't have to worry. It'll be painless. You won't have the financial responsibility. The child won't suffer being raised in a poor household. No, this is for the best." Inducing somebody to, especially if they're, I don't care, 1 month underage. I hope that stuff comes back and smacks him so hard in the face, because there is such a thing as infanticide, and it's the equivalent of red rum. Okay, spelled backwards, red rum. I didn't mean to get into that, but that is what I hope happens, because that's where it starts, folks. Like the story I did, I haven't heard a peep about it. Just about everybody on the Saturday Night Live cast is being sued by underage young ladies that were taken advantage of at parties with the Saturday Night Live cast. And that's how it started. That's how it started with Epstein. And it turned into criminal charges. Okay. And I think that's going to happen with that Virginia governor. And I think it's going to happen with that Saturday Night Live cast. And that's just a tip of the iceberg. So, yeah, hang on to your hats, folks. It's not just Nuremberg. It's not going to be Nuremberg style. So, anyway, let's see. And the young nurse that they drug over the coals and said she was stealing a bike from 5 teenage or some of them were grown men, I think. Yeah. She's every bit of 5 foot nothing and trying to get home after a 12-hour shift, and she tried to steal a bike from 5 males. Okay. Anyway, her GoFundMe is over $100,000. So that'll help get an attorney to look her way about going after all the people that slandered her. Sarah Comrie, a physician's assistant at Bellevue Hospitals, was placed on leave by her employer after a clip of her arguing with a man over a city bike appeared online. But her GoFundMe fight over the bike fight raises nearly 100,000. Good. That'll get her some attention. How you doing? What? Just got the link. Oh, let's see. No dropping links. What? There's a EO. You're talking about a EO saying something about the one called Poly. Oh, yeah. No, don't drop any links. No, we'll find it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. They're talking about having another outbreak. Pol and E and EO, right? So yeah, we're not going to fall for that stuff again. A lot of people got their antennas up that didn't have their antennas up before. Trump indictment anticipated from Biden DOJ over Mar-a-Lago investigation. What a crock. What a crock. I was going to sit there and go over the judges that are involved in the different scenarios where they're going after DJT. But then I figured, no, if I write down the judges, they'll say, oh, Mountain Man's plant, they'll have my chicken scratch on a piece of paper saying, look, he's just going after. No, so it's better to talk about cases. And we remember that each case has either a prosecutor or a adversarial attorney going after DJT, and it also has judges, okay, that have to hear the case. So we've got them from Florida all the way up the East Coast, up to New York. You got them in Georgia. So what is there? How many different cases, civil and so-called criminal? At least 2 is what they're threatening. The one, they've actually indicted him with Bragg, and this one coming up is a ridiculous notion that you can't question, and I can't say the word, but what we do, we select people, right? We can't question that. Oh gosh, Red, is that recent? You went to a rodeo? Was that recent? Estua, how are you? Did I pronounce your name properly? I hope. Estiva. It's Estua. I'm not sure, and I hope I didn't mess it up. So anyway, I hope that wasn't recent, Red. Oh my gosh. There's some horrible stories. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that one. Well, so what you all's bets are there going to be? Is there going to be a compromise, or are we going to default? Because according to Mr. T, there is only 2 choices: compromise and get money back from the Dems, or default. Now, the Dems want a blank check, like they always get, and they always raise the debt ceiling. It's turned into the Tower of Babel of debt ceilings. So Trump and most every rational person is saying that there's only 2 options: to make a deal or default. So we got one default on the screen. Trump seems to feel that the Dems won't do that, that they will cave. Love the press briefing today at the White House. Wise potato going to Camp David. Well, they can do a deal over the phone. That's right, Tennessee. No debt increase. That's what I predict. They're going to have to give in. I agree with Trump because he said if they don't give concessions, you're going to default anyway. If you can't raise it again, it's going to crash. So default now or default later, or get the cuts. That's it. Roy says it's going to be a default. Camperman said, I don't think Dems will cave till they go to jail. Well, it's not like we're dealing with rational people. Yeah, that's right, Red. Christine said, hold on. Yeah, we're holding on. So we'll see what happens. McCarthy said we've offered a lot of concessions, but they're too left-leaning. Now, Jack Dorsey put out a tweet, and there's a couple of things that came out today that made me think about a certain era. Jack Dorsey, who we all know at Jack, and we know what was being put out on the boards about him, but he popped up out of the woodwork and said, splinter the, I'll go ahead and say it, CIA, NSA, and FBI into 1,000 pieces and scatter them into the winds. Isn't that interesting? Who is he quoting? A lot of you know. And hopefully we'll get some new people in these chats that don't know. Splinter them into 1,000 pieces and scatter them to the wind. And that was said by President Kennedy, and he was assassinated shortly thereafter. I find it very interesting that he put out that tweet, Jack Dorsey. So he is probably playing ball with the White Hats, I would say. And it's true that the Los Angeles Dodgers, they did cave. They did disinvite those drag nuns. They dress up like female nuns. And everybody, the Catholic Church, parishioners, and everybody was upset and calling, and so they disinvited them. Well, the very next day they caved and brought them in and let them quote perform. And I'm telling you, I saw some footage of their little show they put on, and it was a mock crucifixion with another person undulating and wiggling and crawling all over the cross. It was truly blasphemous. I'm looking at a still photograph of it, but they had the LA Dodgers got to get the same treatment Bud Light got. And so does Target. They got to get the same treatment. It's enough of this is enough. And I'll tell you what, if I've got a friend that goes to Target, I'm going to express my deep disappointment in them. And I'll tell you, one time I had a friend that got a little upset with me one time. One of the best friends I ever had in my life, still kind of his friend. He's no longer with me, but he got upset with me, and the way he handled it was, listen, we're friends, and I hope we'll always be friends. He started off with that, and I went, uh-oh. And he went, but. And then he told me what he had a problem with. But he started off by saying, we're friends, and I hope we'll always be friends. But, and that's the thing I'm going to do. If I see somebody walk around with a Target bag, I'm going to say, hey, we're friends. I hope we'll always be friends. But I don't appreciate you going there and supporting a company that is doing things to harm little ones. And I don't like it. And I'm disappointed in my friend. It's perfectly all right to say that, because it's a hell of a lot better than what they say to us. I mean, HE double hockey sticks. So I won't get into this Paul Sperry tweet, except I'll do that tomorrow. He was disappointed in Durham, as a lot of people are. But anyway, Target surrenders after massive backlash over Pride campaign. Conservative cheer while Gavin Newsom cries. So they're backing off. But then again, we thought the LA Dodgers was backing off this nuns of perpetual indulgence, or whatever they call themselves. And then they turned right around and did a backflip on us. So I don't trust Target, and I'll forgive them when they have been put in a position where they'll never forget. They suffer so much business loss and reputation that I'm certain they'll never forget. That's when I'll forgive, when they can't forget. So I don't buy that article one bit, that they're backpedaling. This year, the company partnered with a brand called Pralin, which makes merchandises with violent and SATAN messages. Okay. But I tell you what, if I have a friend that goes into that store knowing that, I don't need them as a friend. But depending on the relationship, I would try to salvage it and take the high road, the way I described. But the same time that Jack Dorsey put out that tweet about smashing the three-letter agencies into 1,000 pieces, DJT put up a picture of JFK and Richard M. Nixon, a black and white photograph. And the article he's highlighting says the left's 2020 fake electors narrative is fake news. And I said, aha, I remember that bit of history now between Kennedy and Nixon. But the article goes on to say the 2020 Georgia situation mirrors events 60 years ago in Hawaii, revealing everything the media have said about, quote, fake electors is wrong. So you got Jack Dorsey quoting JFK, and then you also have Trump bringing up Nixon and JFK, where there was a controversy about votes in Hawaii. Remember that Richard Nixon was Dwight D. Eisenhower's vice president at the time. Dwight Eisenhower, Ike Eisenhower, General Eisenhower was president of the United States and Richard Nixon was vice president. Kennedy ran against Nixon. And it was a close contest. There were a questionable situation in Hawaii where they sent backup electors or alternative electors, and that was permitted. It is permitted. But the other thing a lot of people forget is that there was credible allegations and proof of shenanigans in Ohio. Okay? And Nixon had, as vice president, he had the ability to throw those votes out, just like Thomas Jefferson did, just like they were asking Mike Pence to do, to send it back to the states. Nixon could have done that, and he didn't. And there were also the conflict with the Hawaii delegation. So you got Jefferson, Nixon precedent, Pence could have sent it back to, that was under the Constitution, and it still is. They passed a law saying that the vice president can't do this and can't do that. Well, guess what? You can't pass a law to change the Constitution. You have to amend the Constitution, and Trump knows that. The vice president has the power to reject electors where he suspects a problem. Nixon could have done it. Jefferson actually did it. And laws cannot supersede the Constitution, only by amendment. So, holy cow, my hour is up. What did I miss? Anybody in the chat say something that I missed? But anyway, I found it interesting that Trump put that. I didn't come across it yet in my files, but he said he's going to be friends with Kim again out of Korea very soon. Maybe he's talking about 2024. But we got one more company we got to get rid of or make feel the heat. That's North Face. North Face. I've seen their stuff before. I think I had a coat that had that on there. North Face unveils new ad featuring drag queen for Pride Month. So we got that coming up this month, folks. Somebody made a very good comment that pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, right? So we're going to have a month celebrating one of the 7 deadly sins. What are we going to have? Gluttony month? Fatty month? We're going to have jealousy month? Okay, anyway. So, yeah, we'll deal with Pride Month when it gets here. Anyway, let me see what's going on in the Rita said for me to keep going. Okay, if you guys want to hang in with me, I'll hang in with you. Oh, Awaken Trillions up there in Canada. Thank you for helping out tonight, Awaken Trillium. I appreciate it. And thank you, Camper Man, for helping out last night. And also Lone Wolf. And I will say this is a viewer-supported and creator-supported channel only. I don't get anything from any other sources. But the fine folks that watch me, I got a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wants to help the channel out, I'll put a ticker across there. I meant to put that up when I went live, but I always neglect to bring that up till late in the broadcast. I should bring it up earlier, but I don't. Anyway, how you doing, Rick? So, hey, Bubba, well, we didn't see you at Rumble last night, Bubba. Oh, I meant Bumble. I meant to say Bumble. Jiminy Crickets. So anyway, did any of you all see the footage about some of the hearings they are having in the House of Representatives? In my notes, I've got rowdy House. I tell you, they're really starting to show themselves. It's an embarrassment. If I can, I might. I don't know if it's worth the time or not, but I could cut a clip of some of them carrying on. Marjorie Taylor Greene asked them to please respect the rules of decorum, and they just act like worse than college kids. And I'm waiting for some of them, when they get frustrated, to be like the ones we were watching, where the one said, "This is what I've got to say." And then she started screaming, "I hate you. I hate you," for like a solid minute. That's what I want to see. I want to see them really show their backsides. And that, I believe we're getting down to that point where they don't have no other choice but to act like children, and foolish children at that. Oh, your Bumble was acting up, Bubba? Got to go in there and hit the follow button. How you doing, Gary? Well, if you're driving, you be careful. We want you around to listening in the future, my friend. Oh, man, Gary got a date on the Bumble site. You had another Alaskan person in Alaska watching and say, "Hey, I'm right up the road." Ha ha ha. Yeah, Jax, you can tell who's good and who's bad in those hearings. Ha ha ha. Wanda, I guess I could say that, but they might think bad of me. They act like you can read what Wanda said. Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Well, I tell you, I know about 6 or 8 months ago, might have been closer to a year, but relatively recently, the American Pediatric Association, or whatever they call it, child doctors, pediatricians, put out a statement that these quote gender affirming surgeries were bad. Duh. But anyway, they put out a very nice professional letter and just saying, "Hey, this is unnatural. It's not good. It's harmful, blah, 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 blah." But now I'm hearing that the AMA, which I guess this group of pediatricians is absorbed as a subgroup, the American Medical Association, came out affirming, saying that it was good. So the American Medical Association and the Bar Association, along with a lot of other associations, our legal fields, our medical fields, they've all got to be given an enema, okay? A figurative enema to get rid of all this craziness, and we got to start anew. And when I was thinking, what kind of associations we need to just get rid of and rebuild, made me think of something. And I will get a copy of this. Pompeo's speech to the National Governors Association. This is a blast from the past. How many of you remember when Mike Pompeo gave a speech at the National Governors Association in, I think it was 2018 or 19. And he told the governors, pretty much told them, we know which of you have been dealing with China and to what degree? And that was one quiet Governors Association meeting. So that came to my mind when I was thinking about the Medical Association and the Bar Association. Okay, we got a lot of associations that got to be busted up. And I tell you, if you, Bubba, if you go get things working out on Bumble, at least you can watch Right Side Broadcasting and a lot of other stuff that like I'm trying my best, but you know, and I may be over dramatic, but I really think it's a matter of time for me here. That's why I'm trying to build on the Bumble, you know, because I got to have somewhere to go. I don't know. I keep trying to stay out of trouble, but what the heck? I mean, I can only do so much. But I tell you, I sent a message to my friend in Brazil, and I said about a week and a half ago that I did hear from him. And it was brief, and he was okay, but that things were very scary, okay? This is a brave young man. And he said that it's getting scary over there. The day after, or it might have been 2 days after, they raided Bolsonaro's house. And shortly after that, they put out news articles or news releases, press releases, where they were actually menacing his 12-year-old daughter as far as taking the child and forcing something, okay, in their arm. This is former President Bolsonaro, okay? So I messaged him, and I'm hoping to hear back from him, but I said, you know, dear God, I thought we'd never live to see such frightening times, and I hope him and his loved ones were doing well. And I know it's hard for him to reach out. They were talking about barring Telegram from Brazil, and they starting last week were finding Telegram $200,000 a day. So plus they're making a lot of things criminal. Your words can get you arrested, and once you're arrested, they can physically force you to take that treatment. So yeah, let's all keep our fingers crossed for Oakman, who I did a couple of interviews with. Things are too hot to do interview right now, but it made me. I was sitting there thinking, you know, we had these Chinese police stations, they call them, in America, and we had a brief rash of people saying that these were being broken up, right? Have you heard any more about it? Heard about one police ring getting busted up, right? Anybody hear of any more? Chinese police rings in America. Because I'm going to make a point. And that point is foreign nations. This is not the first time they had a secret police coming in to America, because we are the world's melting pot. Excuse me while I get a sip of my coffee. Believe me, and I can give you one loose example. Was the Somalian community where Ilhan Omar is a rep. back in the last selection and the one before that, there were people talking about, I call them, quote, the old term the mafia used, leg breakers. They keep the expatriates in line for the interests of the originating country. So they were active in Ilhan Omar's district. We know they're active with the Chinese. We had that one police station busted up. They tried to put an official face on it, but there is, and I'm getting this point because Brazil is doing the same thing, that they have agents in this country keeping an eye on expatriates, and Mexico already put out warnings that what's his name, whatever his name is there in Mexico, was talking about the U.S. military plotting against them, and they would do whatever they need to do to protect their country. And he was making some very provocative statements. Well, if people don't believe that he's got some leg breakers in this country now, especially after what's happened on that border, they're not in reality. Okay, so we've got foreign agents by the hundreds of thousands. If you think of every country that's going to have some of their own leg breakers in this country, like China had, but China, at least, they tried to put an official face on it and wear uniforms, and they didn't hide it. But these are undercover foreign agents policing the immigrants from their country in this country. And I remember in 2016, when Trump was running, there were Facebook groups that were pro Shorty Guzman, okay? The one that's in jail right now. He was still on the run, but they were posting on Facebook threats against Donald Trump, and they were based in this country. That was back then. Can you imagine? You don't just have governments with leg breakers, but you got cartels with enforcers and leg breakers in this country by the thousands. So, I'm thinking a little bit selfish, because if I, get a little too tangled up with the Brazil and some other people I talk to from other countries, hey, that's why I like to say parts unknown. So people don't think it's a danger, but believe me, it is a danger. But I haven't heard any more Chinese police stations getting busted up since we had a little blast of stories, and then it just went away. But those secret police stations didn't go away, and they're not the only country doing it. And I'll tell you what, Joe Biden could care less. No, he would encourage it. He would encourage it. So anyway, let's see. On 520 Huckabee, the B ex-president was charged with corruption. Bolsonaro's, they did charge him, Reba. Yeah, there's a lot going on. But hey, and before I get off this kick, don't forget what happened with the truckers up in Canada. They got pictures of UN planes at the airports, and then they had all those characters that didn't speak any kind of dialect anybody recognized, doing crowd control under the auspices of crowd control. Don't think that can happen here. But they don't need to bring in UN planes because they've been pouring over the border from 100. Mr. T said 120 some countries. I heard a news report say it was from 160 different countries. All they got to do is put on some kind of uniform. Because you look at how many uniforms look the same. When I did a little expose on J6, I showed helmets and body armor that were identical to the troops fighting over in Ukraine. Identical. They're mass produced. You can buy them on the internet, the same type of gear. So they're coming over here, young. Everybody's been pointing out military age men. All they got to do is put on a uniform. All they got to do is sign up. I showed you the driver's licenses. I showed you in my other channel got taken down and fuzzed out where you couldn't see anything but actual casualties that were mercenaries, American mercenaries in other countries. So I don't think it can happen here. And don't think some of these trained military American mercenaries that would go over to another country, that they wouldn't take a paycheck to do the same thing over here. With masks on, with dark glasses, okay? The promise of anonymity and a paycheck. Don't think they wouldn't turn on their own countrymen. So I'm not, I'm not being a alarmist. I'm being a realist. We just saw it happen. Our neighbor to the north. We're seeing it happen over in Ukraine. Okay. And we've got a lot of young military age people coming in. And Lori, you're right. Yeah, it's been going on for years. The establishment does not want holistic medicine. I've watched my share of Monkey Works. Nothing wrong. I've said in the past, Karen, but I didn't spend the last 2 years sitting around for hours watching pictures of little planes on the screen and fantasizing about Gitmo. That's not how I spend my time. I know what they're capable of. I did several hour-and-a-half-hour-long videos showing, and Red spotted it too, people who had doppelgangers look exactly like people who were physically in the capital J6 over there in Ukraine. Okay. And then I also, Red spotted one guy for sure. I spotted a couple of possibilities, and Red did a video on that guy. And no, I'm not going to learn anything new. And like I said, if they don't want you to see the plane on radar, I had the same map he had. I had that 10 years ago. Okay. So, yeah, but I can see where you all find it exciting. I'm not saying don't watch him. I'm saying that's not how I spend my time, looking at little pictures of planes on the screen. St. Louis, at least we ain't Chicago. Okay. Most UN operatives are in Ukraine right now, or whatever's left of them. Gary said that's true. They're everywhere. They got a lot of U.S. ones. I showed some paperwork from one the other day, and I said at least a half dozen. Oh, what is that one? I don't want to lose my spot in chats. I got thing where the UK put out a bulletin to recruit mercenaries. Let me pull that up real quick. They're recruiting. UN spotted GJT's Waco rally. Don't you worry, those rallies, they are the most observed output events anywhere in this country. Yeah, Gary, they're blowing them up. Let me get that article, because if you're in, I guess, South Africa, Uganda, let's see. That is in my, well, I'll give you, before I get to that recruitment article, let me tell you a bit of good news. The Department of Adolescent Medicine at Dell Children in Children's Hospital in Austin, Texas, is gone. The Department of Adolescent Medicine, because Greg Abbott outlawed that kind of treatment. They've closed down that facility, and all the doctors are out the door. So-called doctors. You can't call people like that doctors. All the experimenters, all the manglers, the manglers. Gee, that's a lot of stuff. Let me find that article. Here it is. Britain began to recruit mercenaries from Africa and the Middle East. This is a post that came out after that failed expedition that we discussed already. The British Adzuna, quote, international headhunters offer people from the Middle East and North Africa to go to Ukraine to, quote, repair equipment. So that's what they tell you when you get there, right? You're just going to repair equipment. What's required is good health and mental stability, in addition to money. Upon expiration of the contract, they promise citizenship of the United Kingdom or the EU under the EU citizenship program. So they got a bulletin out, and they've got a form where they're recruiting people from Africa and the Middle East to be mercenaries in Ukraine. So yeah, they're getting desperate. That's right, Red. They were like 6'6", 6'8", big guys, Slavic. Yeah, Nick, you got to get some rest. We don't got any screwballs in tonight. We got all good people. Man, I'm way behind in the chats. But anyway, I hope you guys hit the follow button on Bumble, and I will post here when I do a jump over broadcast on Bumble. So I did say last night that I was going to give you 3 posts to look up that we could talk about in a future broadcast. Okay, I'm going to give them to you now. And I want to remind you, when you put in a number of a post, you gotta, in the magnifying glass box, you put hashtag, the number, the symbol for number. Okay, so you put hashtag 135, 136. Do them one at a time. Get a screen grab of them if you can. 135, 136, 137, 138. Okay, 135 through 138. So anyway, it's just a little fun thing to do. It's not anything to make anybody scared or but it's just a little mental exercise and to get you used to looking up particular posts. Hashtag and then the number and then hit the magnifying glass. Okay. And start with 35 and with 38. So we'll talk about it in the future. Oh, it must have been boring because I had a bunch of people drop off. That's okay. Did I mute myself? No. No, I was talking. Well, see how that goes? Ain't that something? No, can you hear me? Or my chat's froze or what? Boy, that burns me up. No, my mic is on. All right, Gary said, Bumble in Jungle, it's all right with me. Okay, folks, I'm sorry about that sound business. But did you hear the post numbers? My gosh, that's scary. I said post number 135 through 138. You put in the hashtag and then you put in the number. Do them one at a time and get a screen grab. And did you know it was that many countries? One. And do you notice any countries that are not on the list? Okay. Anyway, folks, I appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me. And I do want to thank everybody that helped me out with the Buy Me a Coffee. This is everybody that's helped me out since the inception of the channel. I think we'll trim that down to people who have helped out this year. I mean, if you hadn't heard anything from somebody in a year, I mean, what the heck? So anyway, I appreciate y'all helping me out. I got a link in the description, and I will maybe post tomorrow. Hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. I got a lot of stuff to do now. The weather's getting good. I got a lot of stuff to try to take care of. Things are moving fast. Let's keep our fingers crossed and our eyeballs open and a level head at all times. So be not afraid and be prepared. Okay, so thank you all. You all have a great evening. This is Mountain Man, over and out.